Welcome back to Desk Careers. I am so excited to bring another incredible guest. Today we are welcoming Dr. Ahmed Haitham, who is currently working here in the United Arab Emirates as a dentist. Welcome, Dr. Haitham. How are you?
I'm doing good. It is me to be with you here in this interview. And I send all my greetings to the students that will be watching this video.
Thank you so much. I have so many questions to ask you. I think my first question, though, today is going to be, I want you to imagine the younger Dr. Haitham. I mean, take yourself all the way back to your early teen years.
Yeah.
How did you know that being a dentist was what you wanted to do?
I'll be frank with you because I graduated, first of all, on 2019, so it was 2 years ago. I started college on 2013. Back then, when I was in high school, as a young boy, I wasn't so much focusing about what to do next. I was just enjoying life and doing stuff that I want to do as a young boy. Then when I reached to the final stage of the high school, I was kind of distracted. I didn't have like a very certain goal what I needed to be. So I started to dig into what I want to learn, what I want to know. Since high school, I always had curiosity, let's call it, about human body, about the biology, how things work in our body. So I was in front of two options, either to go for the medical school or for the dental school. The final decision was made upon the dental school because I felt myself, I want to do things with my hands. I want to see the results instantly in front of my eyes because as a dentist, you have a patient, you treat him, and bingo, you see the results. So you have like an instant effect on the patient. You have a very close relationship with the patient. So that was my let's call it my ignition for dentistry. For the younger students, what I can tell them is that they should have a plan. They should have a goal. It's not about the money. It's not about the social status. They should do what they love. It's always good to have a plan. Now I have my younger brother. He's 10 years younger than me. He's in high school right now. What I advise him not to go to a special field, like go to medicine or dentistry or pharmacy or whatever. I just tell him have a plan. Why you want to be in here? What do you expect yourself to do in that field? In 10 years, in 20 years, because it's a commitment. To be in the medical field, it is a commitment. You have to know that you will keep studying for the rest of your life. It's not about the college years. You have to do your undergrad studies, you have to do your postgrad, you have to do tons of researches. So it's all about what you want to be in your future. It doesn't matter how much money you want to make or what social status you want to gain. So from there, I started.
I know that as a teenager, you had interest in biology and physiology. Would you say that to go down this pathway as a dentist and going through the medical studies to become a dentist, that if you don't like sciences such as biology, physiology, chemistry, physics, that this isn't the path for them? Or can a student who doesn't really find sciences very one of their strengths, can they still go down this path?
Well, to be frank with you, biology and chemistry is not the big part of the whole image while doing the postgrad studies or the undergrad studies. For me, while I was in college, I took chemistry and biology for the first semester. And then you will be like diving deep into different subjects that you never had exposure to. So you'll forget all about your love or hate to biology or chemistry. So it's not like what subjects you love in the school will decide what you want to do in the college. I believe, yeah, you still can go to whatever field, even though if you hate physics, if you hate chemistry, biology, whatever, you'll forget all about it. You'll just take it like simple courses in the university, and then you will do the complex things. It's far away from what you took in the school. So if you hate biology, if you hate chemistry, maybe that will be somewhat obstacle in your college, but it's not the entire thing. There are much more things to discover.
Fantastic. Let's talk a little bit more about the university experience for you. I know that you studied here in the Middle East. What was that like for you? How compared to some of your colleagues who may have studied from different parts of the world? How is that the same, or how is it different?
Compared to my colleagues who studied abroad, I think UAE universities has a unique feature, which is complexity. The people you meet in the college are from all around the world. Like you see people from Americas, from Europe, from Africa, from Asia. So you have this integration between these cultures. This is a unique thing, like to experience when you study in UAE. Studying in UAE was a good option for me. Was if times go back, I'll do it again and again, because the infrastructure in the country here is supporting the environment, supporting the university. Every year we see improvement in the university facilities. But life here is a bit easier if you, compared to studying abroad, especially if your parents are settled in the UAE. My family is settled here, so I didn't bother like finding somewhere to live. I didn't hassle with these things. Most of the people living in the UAE, they are living with their parents, I believe, especially high school people. So it will be a good option for them to study in the UAE. You will have doctors from around the world. Your colleagues will be from different parts of the globe. So yeah, it was a good experience. The drawbacks of studying in the UAE, I think studying in the UAE, the limitations of studying here is somewhat that, we don't really focus on the research aspect in the UAE. During my college years, the main concern for the students was how to deal with the private sector. All right, they didn't grow this mentality of research thing that I want to add something to the literature. Our focus was how to deal with patients, how to get more exposure to patients, how to raise your income. We didn't really focus on the scientific aspect. That could be a drawback of studying in UAE. But I believe, like the older I get, I believe this is much related to the student himself. If he want to go to that aspect, the research aspect or the private sector aspect, but you have to put an effort to get to a point where you really add to the science and to the literature.
Fantastic. What would you say now that you're on this journey of being a dentist and meeting patients and gaining more skills and deciding to go back into your studies? So far, what would you say have been your top 3 highlights?
Actually, it was a short career. It was for a year only. I worked in the private sector for a year. When I left the university, I felt that I had no support at all, because during college days, when you used to work on patients, we are supervised by our doctors. So whatever mistake you do, whatever anything goes wrong, there's a backup. When you go to the private sector, you are all of a sudden by yourself. Like you are responsible for everything. And to be honest, for the first couple of months, I felt that I never worked dentistry. It's my first time drilling teeth. Okay, so that took me a lot of struggle and stress to overcome this part. Dealing with patients on the private sector is completely different than dealing with patients in the university, and that's due to the fees they pay. Because when we treat patients in the university, it's completely free. So patients usually they don't nag, they don't negotiate your options. But when you go to the private sectors, patients are paying. Everything matters, even time. When you used to work in the university, you can take up to 3 hours working on a single tooth. In the private sector, if you exceed more than 30 minutes, that's a big problem. Yeah. So this was very stressful to me, and it took months to overcome it. And when I overcome this step, I thought about, okay, what's next? Being as a general dentist, working everything every day, you can't really focus on a certain aspect. So that's where I started thinking about doing my master's, my specialty. Because if you go down the medical field, you cannot do everything on the same day. You have to be specialized in one thing. So you can really dig into the research, you can read more about it, you can practice it more. So yeah, from that point, I decided no, yeah, I have to leave this phase and I have to do my specialty. Then I can work again on a specific thing. So I have more focus and I have more skills in it.
Very often, our young students, because they're always learning and they're always in that experience of learning and talking to mentors or meeting with professors and teachers, I think they forget that one day they will become very experienced and things will feel very natural for them. But of course, there's the journey between learning, being a learner, and then being experienced. With you being so fresh in the field and very young, right at the beginning of your career, looking back at being that younger Dr. Haitham, how have you become more confident? And what are some of the tips for confidence that you can offer a young person?
All right, to be confident is to make mistakes. They are just parallel. To gain this confidence, you have to do tons of mistakes, and you have to learn from your mistakes so you can be very skillful in your profession, whatever it is, a dentist, an engineer, whatever it is. You have to do mistakes. I think younger people nowadays, they just look through the social media. They see how people, they ace their careers. And for me as a dentist, dentists are quite active on Instagram. So they keep posting their work, their daily work. And you see some of the premium quality on your daily basis. And when you go to your office and you start working with your hand and you compare what you see on social media to your outcomes, there's quite a big difference. But it's wrong to compare yourself with someone who has 10 plus years of experience. So knowing that you will not be as good as people in the ladder, like top of the ladder, instantly, this is the first key of confidence. You will do mistakes. Everyone knows that you will do mistakes, but you have to explain yourself well to the patient. You have to explain yourself well to the employer. And then day after day, you see yourself improving with your career. It's quite stressful to do mistakes on patients, but it's something that you have to do. And the patient should understand that mistakes could happen. Usually in the college days, our supervisors, they stress out the idea of doing mistakes. Like if you do a mistake, that's a big deal. It is not. You have to do mistakes. And usually people, doctors in general, they don't accept the idea of doing mistakes on human teeth. But this is life. To gain experience, to gain confidence, you have to do mistakes. I was reading a book named Focus. It was talking about confidence and how you do things like a normal daily routine. So your brain has two layers, the gray and white matter. When you do things like driving, your gray matter will send signals automatically to your nervous system, like something daily. But when you're doing something new, for example, you are stitching a wound, for the first time, your white matter will send a signal to your gray matter, and then your gray matter will send it to your nervous system. And that extra step will make you more nervous because it's not something daily. You are not used to it. With time, with every time, if you stitch wounds every day, you keep stitching, your white matter will not send any signals to the gray. The gray will take the whole responsibility. So it will just feel like a blink of an eye. So younger people should believe that they do mistakes. They should work on a daily basis to gain the confidence.
I really appreciate how you've helped us to understand the difference between an unconscious, typical activity that we're doing almost on autopilot remote, and the new activity where we have to really pay attention and focus on what we're doing right now. How is the medical industry in the world of dentistry evolving with technology? What do you see as the new trends coming up that young people should be aware of?
Dentistry is one of the fastest evolving businesses around the globe. Every day you have a new company offering new devices, offering new techniques. It's quite expensive ones. The people who are willing to go through dentistry, they must be prepared that they have to pay a lot of money to learn. That's the sad part of dentistry. You have to pay to learn because every month you have an event, you have a conference, you have a workshop teaching you new techniques. So I suggest or I advise people or they are willing to go to dental school, they need to learn the basics first. The ABC of dentistry, the things that we do in the 80s or the 70s. After they ace the basics, they can look onto the evolving markets or the evolving technologies. Here in the UAE, backed by the government in here, we have a lot of events happening every year. One of them is ADIC exhibition happening every February, I believe, where like thousands of companies, they come and they do workshops about their newest technologies and equipments. But being a college student is really hard to catch up with the latest advancements because you need to understand the basics first. Where this technology coming from? What are the bases of this technology? Learning the newest advancements of dentistry comes with time, especially working in the private sector. You have to know what you want to do after you graduate. You want to be like an academic in the academic sector. You want to work in the private, in hospitals. It depends where you are actually. Being in the private, it's a must to be like on day-to-day with the advancements. Being on the academic side, it doesn't require that much of awareness regarding the new devices or technologies, whatever it is. But for the college days, we in the University of Sharjah, we worked absolutely on the basic stuffs. We barely used technology in the college. And that has like two sides, a good side and a bad side. The good side that you really know where everything is coming from. You know the old work, the typical, the classic work. And then we need a bit of mixture for the development, for the advancements. But yeah, it comes with time. Mainly it comes with time.
And would you say that a dentist, especially with technology evolving as it is, will ever wake up knowing everything? Or do you think technology is constantly forcing dentists to keep up with new trends, to keep up with new technology because of the competition of other private practices?
It forces you. If you stay outdated, you'll be lost in the market because unfortunately, there are a huge number of dentists right now worldwide. And to be one of the elites, let's call it, you have to be updated. You have to be aware of every technological aspect of dentistry, because if you keep yourself out of the zone, you will not reach anywhere. This is the actual story.
So let's talk a little bit about the other elements of the work that you do that I think young people don't really consider. For example, in your day-to-day basis, not only are you working on patients as in the capacity of a dentist, but you're also dealing with a business kind of a mindset, would you say, as well? You mentioned that there's so much competition. There's many, many dentists that you're having to kind of stand out so that people will be able to recognize your specialty. What kind of skills should an aspiring dentist begin to be aware of that have nothing to do with the practice of dentistry, but are important to you as a dentist in the world of dentistry in a business capacity?
Let me be honest on this point. During college days, we were treating patients for free, as I mentioned earlier. It was like something humanitarian. You do it for the humans, something very very beautiful, like you work to treat that patient. The first shock that you take when you go into the private sector is not charity anymore. It's not for the good of humans, it's for money. So the first thing that you should look for when looking for a job in dentistry, that you have to pick your boss. There are thousands of clinics throughout the country. Pick your boss wisely. If you know that the man you are working for him is looking for money, you will suffer, because they might push you to do things that are unethical and not medically based just to gain money. So this is the first thing that you have to learn, how to pick your boss. You have to pick a place where you can develop your skills, where they believe in you. They don't care about how much you get, your income per month. because the shock that you are in a business, not in a medical field anymore, is kind of depressing at the beginning. For me, for the first couple of months was depressing because, okay, I'm taking money for my effort, and now they see me as an asset. So I'm gaining them money, so they want me to do more. And sometimes there are clinics in the country, they force you to do things the patient might not need it, especially in the aesthetic part. So you have to learn how to pick your boss, as I said, and you have to know how to increase your income in a medically justified way, because patients, they usually come to your chair and they don't know what problems they have. So you have to convince the patients that they need this treatment. You don't leave the options to the patient itself. You have to be more convincing to the patient that they need this treatment and that treatment. Because at the end, even though if you are in a good clinic with an understanding boss, you have to bring numbers to the clinic. They will check the numbers. If you are not getting enough income for them, you'll be done. They will just let you go. This is the sad story of it.
It's the business side of the profession, and I think young people don't think about that. I don't believe anyone really tells them that until they get to the world of private practice and they realize actually this is more than just taking care of humans. This is really about keeping a business sustainable as well. So in finding the right boss, are you saying, find the right balance, somebody who does understand, because we have to be realistic. Without the profits, the clinic wouldn't survive, and then we wouldn't be able to practice as dentists. But at the same time, find the right balance of someone who cares and not just looks to drive.
Yeah, it's not just greedy for them. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed. I've had such a great conversation with you. I really enjoyed and very much appreciated that you took us into parts of the world of being a dentist that we don't normally have in conversation.
It's my pleasure to be here with you, and thanks for your invitation.
I think just before we wrap it up, I do have one last question. Seeing as you did study here in the UAE and you are based here, I'm sure you'll remember how challenging it was as a young person to find experiences of work or to shadow a dentist or in the medical field. What are some of your tips for students who are trying to learn more about the world of medicine and dentistry, but they are not able to shadow a dentist? What else can they do to gain experiences before they go to university?
I tried before graduating from the college, I tried to at least watch a dentist working in the private sector, but unfortunately the rules of the Ministry of Health, it's really put restrictions on that aspect. You can't really shadow a dentist while working or standing in the same room without a proper license. So it's really hard to do. It's what they can do during their college or before the college days. They can just communicate with other dentists with social media. We have the LinkedIn, it's an excellent platform to connect with people you are interested in. For example, if you want to ask about your profession, you can simply create your account on LinkedIn, connect with dentists all over the world, and you can start a conversation with them. Ask them what is it about to be a dentist, how your life will be shaped after graduating from dental school. But shadowing a dentist in the United Arab Emirates is quite hard. It's really hard due to restrictions from the ministry itself, not from the dentists themselves. Because there will be a huge fine on the clinic if someone knows that a student or whatever is standing in the operation room other than the dentist and the nurse. So yeah, it's all about social media and connecting with people worldwide.
Being creative is what I'm hearing you say. Get onto social media and be creative. Thank you so much, Dr. Haitham. I really appreciated seeing you here today. And this brings us to the end of another incredible conversation. Today we were speaking with Dr. Ahmed Haitham, who is currently working in the United Arab Emirates as a dentist. Where can we find you on social media, on Instagram, Dr. Haitham?
Sure, I'm Dr. Ahmed Al-Ani.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we'll We'll see you all at our next Desk Careers Digital Spotlight.